Welcome to episode 28 of your CySA Plus Prepcast. In this episode, we'll explore one of the most important but often overlooked areas of threat detection: application behavior and anomaly analysis. This skill enables analysts to identify early indicators of compromise that might otherwise bypass traditional security systems. Applications are a prime target for threat actors. Attackers exploit their processes, hijack their permissions, or repurpose them for lateral movement and data exfiltration. Cybersecurity analysts must learn to observe how applications typically behave and then identify when something deviates from that norm. Understanding application behavior is essential for rapid detection and response, and the CySA Plus exam expects you to be proficient in recognizing these patterns and interpreting their significance. Let's start by defining what we mean by application behavior analysis. This refers to the continuous observation and interpretation of how applications interact with users, resources, systems, and networks. Analysts use this knowledge to detect activities that fall outside expected norms. These anomalies can indicate anything from benign misconfigurations to active threats. For example, if a payroll application begins accessing directories unrelated to its function, or attempts to connect to an unfamiliar external IP address, these could be signs of exploitation or malicious modification. You may be asked on the exam to identify when an application's behavior suggests it has been compromised or misused. Establishing application baselines is a prerequisite to identifying anomalies. Analysts must first document what constitutes normal behavior. This includes expected CPU and memory usage, types of files accessed, network communications, log entries, and authentication patterns. These baselines are often created by observing the application during normal operation, both with automated tools and manual verification. Once this behavior is understood, it serves as a benchmark. Any deviation from it, such as higher than normal memory usage, new network destinations, or unexpected sub-processes, raises an alert. Questions on the exam may require you to evaluate a set of behaviors and determine which one represents a deviation from the baseline. One of the most immediate signs of an application-level issue is abnormal resource consumption. Unexpected spikes in CPU usage, memory consumption, or disk input and output could signal a number of issues. These range from cryptojacking malware running in the background to poorly coded plugins or intentional resource exhaustion attacks. Analysts must use resource monitoring tools and system logs to determine whether the behavior is a result of a benign process, a misconfiguration, or a sign of compromise. CySA Plus exam scenarios may ask you to evaluate performance data or logs and identify the source of the anomaly. The unauthorized creation of new accounts within an application is another serious indicator. Most applications with role-based access include user management functions. If an attacker compromises the system, one of their first steps may be to create a new user account with administrative privileges to establish persistence. Analysts must configure application monitoring tools to alert on new account creations, especially outside of known provisioning workflows. You may be asked to review logs or alerts showing unexpected user accounts and determine the most appropriate action, such as disabling the account or investigating related activity. Unexpected output from an application, such as unusual error messages, crashes, or altered logs, can also reveal malicious activity. These outputs might occur due to failed exploitation attempts, tampering with system settings, or the execution of malicious scripts. Analysts must analyze these anomalies by correlating error messages with recent configuration changes, user activity, or suspicious file modifications. On the CySA Plus exam, you may be given error logs and asked to identify what type of issue is most likely causing the abnormal output. Unusual outbound communications from an application can signal active compromise. For instance, if a web application starts reaching out to unknown or blacklisted IP addresses, this may be part of a command and control channel. Similarly, if large volumes of data are being sent to an external server, analysts must suspect data exfiltration. These events are typically detected through log analysis, SIM platforms, or proxy monitoring systems. Exam scenarios may present firewall or proxy logs showing unexpected application communications and ask you to identify whether they indicate a threat. Service interruptions are also worth close attention. If an application suddenly becomes unstable, stops responding, or begins to fail at random intervals, there could be a denial of service attack or a resource exhaustion technique underway. Alternatively, the instability may be due to unauthorized code execution or privilege escalation attempts, disrupting application services. Analysts must compare logs across systems, monitor usage patterns, and investigate system changes to determine the root cause. The exam may ask you to assess log entries or uptime metrics to identify whether the outage is related to a security event. Application logs are a goldmine for anomaly detection. These logs provide detailed insight into access attempts, configuration changes, user actions, and system errors. Analysts must be able to interpret these logs to recognize patterns of misuse. For example, repeated failed login attempts, changes to access permissions, or unusual parameter usage in web requests may all be signs of an attempted attack. Familiarity with log structure, severity levels, and application-specific indicators is critical for success, both on the job and on the exam. Authentication anomalies within applications are another area of focus. These include multiple failed login attempts in a short period, successful logins from unfamiliar locations, logins at unusual hours, or credential use that does not match historical behavior. These anomalies may signal brute force attacks, credential stuffing, or account compromise. Analysts must establish thresholds for login attempts, validate user session origins, and configure multi-factor authentication where supported. The CySA Plus exam may include scenarios where you must determine whether a login pattern represents malicious activity or normal user behavior. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are more security courses on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. With an understanding of application baselines, resource patterns, and access anomalies, analysts must now integrate these findings with broader detection tools, proactive defense mechanisms, and response strategies. In this second half of the episode, we'll explore how application behavior monitoring is supported by modern cybersecurity infrastructure, how machine learning improves detection accuracy, and how analysts tie together host, network, and application indicators to form a complete picture of a threat. This knowledge is not only crucial for CySA Plus exam performance, but is also instrumental in building a resilient, responsive security program. Security information and event management systems are among the most valuable tools analysts use to monitor application behavior. SIM platforms ingest logs from applications, endpoints, network devices, and cloud services, allowing centralized analysis and correlation. Analysts create detection rules that flag specific behaviors, like multiple failed logins, configuration changes, or abnormal access requests. These rules help transform raw log data into actionable alerts. SIM dashboards and reports also help analysts understand long-term behavior trends and monitor for recurring threats. CySA Plus questions may present SIM alerts and ask you to determine which application behaviors are abnormal and which are expected. User and entity behavior analytics tools take monitoring a step further by leveraging behavioral baselines for users, devices, and applications. UEBA platforms apply algorithms that detect subtle changes in behavior, like a user suddenly accessing applications they never touched before, or an application that begins transmitting large amounts of data after hours. These tools are particularly helpful in identifying insider threats and compromised accounts. Analysts must know how to interpret UEBA alerts, validate behavioral deviations, and integrate this intelligence into a broader incident response plan. The exam may include scenarios where UEBA data is presented alongside logs, and you must identify suspicious behavior patterns. Sandbox environments are also essential for analyzing application behavior, especially when the analyst is uncertain whether a file or process is malicious. By executing potentially dangerous files in a controlled environment, Analysts can observe how the file interacts with the operating system, what changes it attempts to make, and whether it communicates with external systems. This analysis can uncover dropped payloads, registry changes, and persistence mechanisms. Tools like Cuckoo Sandbox or commercial solutions provide detailed reports used for further investigation. On the exam, you might be asked how sandboxing aids in confirming malicious behavior, or how to interpret its output. Understanding evasion techniques used by attackers is crucial for accurate anomaly detection. Many attackers will attempt to bypass application monitoring tools using obfuscation, encryption, or stealthy behavior. For example, malware might delay execution, encode commands, or execute only under certain system conditions to avoid detection. Analysts must be able to recognize these techniques by observing inconsistencies, missing log entries, or unusual timing patterns. Knowing how attackers evade traditional detection allows analysts to develop better rules and use more sophisticated monitoring tools. The CySA Plus exam may challenge you to identify indicators of evasion or recommend monitoring enhancements. Correlating application anomalies with host-based and network-based indicators provides the most complete picture of an attack. For example, an application may exhibit unusual outbound traffic, while the host shows abnormal CPU usage, and the firewall detects access to known malicious IPs. When these clues are evaluated in isolation, they might not trigger alarms, but when correlated, they suggest coordinated malicious activity. Analysts must know how to combine these sources in a SIM or investigation platform and evaluate the full attack chain. You may be asked to analyze multiple log types and determine whether a given application event is part of a larger intrusion. Application whitelisting and allow listing serve as proactive defense strategies. By specifying which applications are allowed to run on a system, analysts reduce the attack surface and prevent execution of unauthorized or unknown binaries. This is especially useful in environments with fixed application stacks or high security requirements. Whitelisting solutions must be carefully managed to avoid false positives and must be updated regularly as applications are patched or changed. Analysts monitor logs for blocked execution attempts and investigate whether they are false positives or actual threats. The exam may include scenarios where whitelisting is recommended or ask how it contributes to anomaly detection. Continuous tuning of anomaly detection systems is vital for maintaining accuracy. Analysts must adjust detection thresholds, update behavioral baselines, and remove outdated rules that generate noise or miss important signals. This tuning process includes validating false positives, refining detection logic, and adapting to changes in application usage. As applications evolve, new features or user behaviors may cause previously defined anomalies to become normal. Failure to adjust leads to alert fatigue or missed threats. The CySA Plus exam might test your understanding of how to refine monitoring configurations to maintain high detection fidelity. Proactive threat hunting is another layer of application security that extends beyond passive monitoring. Analysts actively search for signs of compromise by querying application logs, reviewing API usage, and inspecting configuration changes. This hands-on approach helps uncover slow-moving threats or stealthy adversaries who operate under detection thresholds. Threat hunting initiatives often begin with a hypothesis, such as a specific application may have been used as an initial access point and then use data to confirm or dismiss the theory. On the exam, you may be asked to identify which logs or queries would support a specific threat hunting objective. When anomalies are confirmed, analysts must move quickly to contain the threat. Application-focused incident response actions include disabling compromised accounts, isolating affected systems, modifying firewall rules, or rolling back recent application updates. Incident response plans should include steps specific to high-risk applications and detail how to restore functionality while maintaining evidence integrity. Analysts must also assess whether other systems or users are affected. CySA Plus exam questions may simulate incidents and require you to choose the most effective containment strategy based on application logs or behavior. Documentation and reporting are the final components of a complete application anomaly response. Analysts must record what was detected, how it was investigated, the containment and remediation steps taken, and the lessons learned. This documentation supports compliance, reporting, enables peer review, and informs future detection logic improvements. Reports should include log excerpts, timeline summaries, and impact assessments. During the exam, you may be asked what should be included in a post-incident report or how to present application findings to non-technical stakeholders. To summarize, application behavior and anomaly detection are core disciplines in cybersecurity analysis. By building strong baselines, leveraging advanced tools, understanding attacker evasion tactics, and correlating multi-domain data, analysts can detect threats early and respond effectively. These skills not only strengthen your ability to defend systems, but also elevate your performance on the CySA Plus exam. Continue studying application monitoring platforms, tuning detection systems, and practicing correlation exercises to master this essential part of your analyst journey. Thanks for listening. To learn more about cybersecurity, please visit baremetalcyber.com. There you will find best-selling books, videos, and even more free cybersecurity training courses. Please subscribe to the Prepcast and our various podcasts. And thanks for listening.